Hi doing everyone, the one and only Jade, now makes my next, and we welcome you to another edition of the Wrestling Weekend Recap, where we bring you the good, the bad, and the latest inside news that took place this previous week with Monday Night Raw, Friday Night Smackdown, the Wednesday Night Wars with AEW, Dynamite, and NXT going up against each other. Now let's not forget also incorporating Impact Wrestling and also New Japan Pro Wrestling. Before we begin, I want to mention our disclaimer. Of course, that is being that due to the nature of this program, everything that we say and state is strictly our opinion, and it does not necessarily reflect the views of the platform that we're on or the wrestling companies that we talk about. And now, don't have a cow, man. So, of course, even though we normally do this on a Saturday and it's Sunday and we're barely beginning a whole new wrestling week, it was a crazy week nonetheless. I mean, having to lay back and watch the Canelo fight that took place last night. It was a really short fight to my surprise, but we knew that Canelo was going to pull it off. And boy, did he defeated that Turkish dude. It was just something out of nowhere and unexpected. We did not. I really wanted to go to the fourth, fifth fight. That didn't happen, but yeah, man. Yeah, I thought the Turkish guy was gonna pull, maybe some sort of comeback, but obviously that didn't happen. His trainer just decided to throw in the towel, and here I thought, oh man, that was some, move, but go figure, that's boxing. But at least Canelo will fight. This next fight will be May 8th, so hopefully that one won't be so short. But nonetheless, I thought what was really cool was see Canelo be introduced and accompanied to the ring by international and Latin, reggaeton singer J Balvin that night. I thought that was cool. I mean, and look how it's going to the direction that it's going to synonymously. I mean, we already got Bad Bunny being incorporated with WWE for WrestleMania, and of course, he did the event of Saturday Night Live that pasted in with him being the 24/7 on-demand champion of WWE and such. So that kind of like fits that into a glove. Now we're seeing J Balvin last night, having to do a special thing for him coming out, leading into the boxing ring, and of course accompanying him all the way to the very end, even all the way to the end of the event itself. And also, we just got done watching the Tom and Jerry movie, and not to spoil it or anything, but there's also some involvement of international Latino, reggaeton superstars as well. Nicky Jam did the voice of Butch in that movie, and of course, you've seen a cameo appearance by Osuna. So, Jade, I mean, it's really cool how we're seeing this open up in 2021 with the international Latino rappers, reggaeton artists are actually getting involved with some of these involvements with movies, with events. I mean, they're really grasping it. They're bringing it out alive, and they're getting included in being a part of events like these.
Yes, it is, and I just want to point out that pretty much 60% of the nation's population is Latino. It doesn't matter whether you're Mexican, whether you're Cuban, Dominican, Puerto Rican, from Central South America, wherever. Bottom line is that whenever you have these artists, breaking the barriers and paving the way for Latinos everywhere, especially here in the United States, it just goes to show that there's still hope out there, especially during this slower time of the pandemic. But regardless, I mean, yes, when we have Osuna
Nicky
and
Jam.
Nicky Jam in the Tom and J movie. Of course, last night the participation of J Balvin during the Canelo fight, and of course Bad Bunny with WWE. It just goes to show that whenever you have your heart son, you set the tone for the respective race, for the people. It's one way to get to blend everybody together, and we're not saying it's not about superiority. It's about coming together, and showing that despite everything that's happening, we can have a good time. Not knock on anybody. Make sure everybody enjoy themselves, have a little fun, but at the same time, try to be inclusive and show that there is light down the tunnel, especially during this pandemic.
That's right. So let's just get to it with the headlines. One of the major headlines that I believe broke this past week came out on a Wednesday morning. I'd say around 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. The news of Paul White, formerly known as the Big Show in WWE. Of course, the story broke out that he has signed with AEW. And, everybody was wondering, wait a minute, I thought it was WWE. What happened? So his contract was coming up. If you'll remember, he signed with WWE in the month of February of 1999. And as far as we can remember, before he even signed with WWE back then, he was with the competition with WCW. His last match, if I remember, it took place January. Let's see. He wasn't on the 4th with which was the event of the Finger Poke of Doom. That was the 4th. So that would be January 11th. That was his last appearance with WCW, being a part of Nitro. He had his last match with Kevin Nash. He was breaking away from the Wolfpack Elite, and he was just done. And he knew he can venture elsewhere, and he went with WWE. Of course, it was advised for him to go there. I heard in one of the stories, Hulk Hogan even told him, "Hey, go to WWE." I'm pretty sure there were others, before and after him that gave him that advice, and which he did. And he lasted with the company for this long. He lasted with them for this long, and it's an amazing run that he had. But I guess lately his duties with WWE, in the last number of years, I guess they were really kind of sour. They were short. He was only doing these Legends deals that only lasted for just about a year, and these were these last couple of contracts and commitments with him. All he was just doing was ambassador duties. He was on the show very, very little. Of course, we got to see him a couple of times recently, which was after last year's WrestleMania, having a match with Drew McIntyre. Also, he appeared on Legends Night doing a backstage promo with Randy Orton. But the word broke out that he wasn't happy at all that night during Legends Night. So I guess, everybody backstage felt it. They heard about it. Bottom line is that word broke out, and I guess that's what led to Paul White not signing with them again, that he was done, and he of course, decided to venture with AEW. So now him signing with AEW is a huge deal. But the thing about it is that his duties now, he's gonna be part of the commentary team with Tony Schiavone to debut a new um, show of AEW on YouTube starting March 15th. And that's a new section of AEW Dark. I forgot what the next part of it is, but it all centers about new talent coming in. And I'm talking about new talent actually getting their break, kind of like what Dark has been doing. But now, obviously, these are newbies coming in and I guess making an impression of what they can do. And I guess what if Dark does continue, and I'm talking about the original Dark, not this new Dark show that is, gonna debut on Monday, but the Dark show on Tuesdays that we normally see, I guess that's still gonna continue, but now with these newbies already getting a shot, and now they're gonna be kind of go forward and be seen a little bit more. They're gonna get more experience. They're gonna get more time, I guess, before they get called up for Dynamite. I guess if that's how they're gonna do it. So yeah, that's what Paul White's gonna be doing at that point for AEW. Is he gonna wrestle again? I say have a few matches here and there, but him wrestling full time, I think that's done with. He already did it for WWE. He already did it for WCW. I say that's it for him. And if he does decide to wrestle, I say, maybe 1-2 matches here and there, but that should be it. Oh, and another part why he wasn't happy, it turns out that the Netflix show, it got canceled as well. So that's why that was another reason for him not re-signing with WWE at that point. But yeah, those, the world was talking about a big show signing with AEW now. And now we're knowing that him being a part of the commentary team for this new YouTube show starting Monday, March 15th with Tony Schiavone, that's going to be the big deal. But I think him already signing in with AEW, I think that couldn't have happened at a better time, because while he makes his job official for March 15th, I'm pretty sure, and I know they're going to have this in a way. So I guess I'm going to make a prediction, and if it ends up a spoiler, so be it. But I think now him signing on the dotted line literally with AEW for an actual contract, now I'm hoping that for this upcoming March 3rd events for both NXT and AEW Dynamite, if AEW wants to win the ratings huge, they got to pull in Paul White for an appearance during the match during the mixed tag match with Cody Red Velvet against Jade Cargill and Shaq. Because the last time we seen Shaq and Paul White was years ago for a teaser for a future WrestleMania match between them two, and it never happened. It never was put to paper. It just was left in the, it was just an idea on paper that never came true. So now I guess we can do I guess now AEW can do a teaser, and maybe, just maybe, they can do a match one-on-one if, of course, Shaq Fu, passes with flying colors. So, I gotta hear your opinion about all this. What is your reaction with Paul White signing for AEW? Maybe about a possibility of appearing on this upcoming Wednesday, March 3rd, and your opinion about him being a part of the commentary team for this new YouTube show for AEW.
Honestly, I thought Paul White could have lasted a little longer in WWE, but things happened the way it happened. But nevertheless, it's it's good for Paul White. I'm pretty sure. It could. I'm thrilled for Paul. Hopefully things work out for him in AEW. And yes, the possibility of Paul White appearing this Wednesday on Dynamite to make his TNT re-debut in many years, it could be possible. And the thing for me, like you mentioned, is that since coincidentally, I don't know, some of you people know who are watching, but Cody Rhodes is a part of the panel of what well, to pardon the pun, the Go Big Show, which of course was Paul White's character in WWE. And the one thing I can't wait to see is that since the Go Big Show is in its final stages of the contest, that pretty much the show needs a grand marshal to commemorate this the occasion for a historic debut, knowing that the show caused quite a buzz, people around the country watching, with such numbers. And pretty much if they want this show to end with all the fanfare needed, and quite frankly, the only person who can help do that is the man who, for all intents and purposes, was billed as the Big Show, and that being Paul White commemorating his return to Turner Television and is now new endeavor with All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, I think now how all of this is trending is that even Tony Khan mentioned that there's going to be more surprises down along the line when it comes to future WWE superstars maybe jumping to AEW, or former WWE talent that already been out of WWE maybe making a move to AEW. Like, for example, Zelina Vega. I heard her name being mentioned, for a possible signing with AEW, because she'd be the next one to be signed. So it's a possibility. I'm not going to say that it's not, but also we're seeing the pattern of old of how it's starting to look like Nitro, where WCW was signing all former WWE talent, and obviously, could it be a capitalization for AEW to win it big against WWE? I don't know, but there's a lot of things going on. Besides that, of course, you got the business relationships that they got with Impact Wrestling and New Japan. Now we're hearing that maybe WWE could also be next, or one of those ideas that maybe it could happen somewhere down along the line and work with AEW. Sky's the limit, I mean, just thinking about it so much. I mean, if only I was rich, and if only I had money and would probably buy a trademark or a copyright for WWE, but have it under my exclusivity. If there was one concept that I could bring back, it would be World War III. What I would envision around this time for World War III would be this simple. I would resurrect World War III. I would bring back the original concept of 60 men, 3 rings, but here's the kicker. It would be AEW, New Japan, and Impact Wrestling on one side versus WWE. And here is how I would divide it. You get the 10 best from AEW, 10 best from Impact, 10 best from New Japan against the 10 best from Raw, 10 from Smackdown, and 10 from NXT. And from there, it would be a whole new ball game. It would definitely be an all-out war. So that's how I would envision of something like that happening. But we know that obviously that's never going to happen, or unless if somebody, throws this video out there to share with the world, with the wrestling fans, and just sit and think about it. Okay, maybe this could happen. Maybe somewhere down along the line. Maybe if Vince McMahon was no longer running WWE, because we know that with Vince McMahon, things like this would never ever happen. And if maybe Triple H or Shane or Stephanie or all three of them would run the company now, maybe, the world of wrestling would be a whole new possibility. It could be a whole other atmosphere, just like how it's starting to be rebuilt and reconstructed and rebuilt, in a whole other view. It was going that way once again before the pandemic, and I know I said this so many times, but it was heading in that direction. And if the pandemic would have not come in and destroyed everything, then we would wrestling would, with all these different programmings, it would be on all an entire week. You got Raw on Mondays, you got AEW Dark, you had NWA on Tuesdays, NWA Power, then Wednesday NXT and Dynamite with the Wednesday Night War. You had nothing on Thursdays. Oh, I'm sorry. It also had Impact on Tuesdays. But there's so many stuff on Tuesdays. You got to even it out. If only they would move Impact to Thursdays, because you got nothing on Thursdays. Then Friday, of course, Smackdown. So you got all this week, every single week, every month, with something different with wrestling. And you see all these different wrestlers making names for themselves, and even NXT UK, of course, on Thursdays coming out. So, the world of wrestling would be an endless possibility, and it would be a whole other atmosphere. But of course, with everything that's going on, we got everything reconstructing and rebuilding, and a World War III concept, that's something that I would bring back, but I would do it like that. It's like 10 of AEW, 10 New Japan, 10 Impact versus 10 Raw, 10 SmackDown, and 10 of NXT, all WWE. And it would be, that would be a view so explosive. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is taking place. But yeah, that would be something huge. That would be something that people would have been dying to see for years, because when in the beginning of the Monday Night Wars, they've been talking about, WCW versus WWE. It's a good idea, but then look what happened. We got that at the end, but all the top stars, they were still under contracts. They were still getting big paid money, and we didn't see them until their Turner contracts were done. That would be Ric Flair, that would be the NWO, that would be Goldberg, and that would be Rey Mysterio, and that would be so many others that WCW had under those big Turner contracts. And obviously, all of those plans didn't happen the way that it should have had. Otherwise, that major storyline would have definitely been believable. And it wasn't to a point, but I still tried being on board with that. And they had some really good moments, but there were others that just, didn't unfortunately measure up. So, another headline that we want to discuss, unfortunately, Anna Jay got injured, and I think it was her right shoulder. That injury took place in her last match, and that she would end up being out for 6 months to maybe a year. And that kind of broke my heart, because here I thought, Anna Jay would be one of the huge possibilities of her getting to a women's title shot, to leaning towards a title shot match for her maybe to become a champion, and it didn't went that way. So, of course, from us to you, Anna Jay, we hope that you recover and get well real soon, so we can see you back in the ring. But then, of course, the women's tournament matches, it's getting really heated, and it's really getting it's getting more it's giving some of the best action that I never thought that I would ever see, from so many times ago. And now we're seeing how inclusive the women are getting active with one another, even though there's some matches in here in the States. We're seeing some in Japan. The only minus that I got right now, how it's like they're making it important, but at the same time, it's not all that important because look how everything has been divided. Right now, we already got the finals, and that is airing out. I think they already aired out earlier ago on YouTube. No, actually, it got aired out during BNR.com. Now, here's the thing: you're trying to make it important, but then it seems like not so important. So, what is the deal? Do you really want us to tune in and give them the respect to be viewed to make them seem important, or it's like just something you want to throw out there, and it's like, okay, if we got eyeballs and it sticks, cool, but if it doesn't, okay, it's back to the drawing board. So it's like, come on, AEW could have done a whole lot better than that, and they could have had these matches on their YouTube channel. Stick it with the YouTube channel instead of having it aired out on BNR.com. I don't even got time to get on the net, get on the freaking website and see if, they're doing it live or they're in it from there. Otherwise, I know they're going to have it on the YouTube channel and then I'll just view them from there. But that takes away of of how important this tournament is supposed to be because, of course, on the other side, NXT, they got their women's tag team title match, of course, with what happened with the Dusty Cup. Io Shirai just got out of just defended amazingly her triple threat match. We know that there's other competitors on the horizon, like Toni Storm. Mercedes Martinez is not that far away. She still wants her shot with Io Shirai. But nonetheless, there's women coming in that really want to make their mark. And of course, and not to get into the full story completely, but Zoe Stark, she had a very good impression and how she stepped up and stood toe to toe with the NXT Women's Champion. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, like I mentioned, Anna Jay, of course, she's going to be out maybe to a year if of course, this shoulder injury doesn't heal up all that much, Jade.
Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate situations because, quite frankly, I had my heart seeing Anna Jay compete in the women's championship tournament, but due to unfortunate circumstances, that didn't happen, and AEW pretty much made Maddie Rankowski to be her alternate, and evidently she was gonna lose. But nevertheless, I mean, then situations like this happen, and hopefully it's good news, and we hopefully see Anna Jay come back, hopefully either by the end of this year or hopefully by the beginning of next year. But pretty much there's a partial void in the Dark Order with Anna Jay now absent due to injury, but they're pretty much going to continue on the way like nothing ever happened. But it's one of those things where you never thought expect what happened, but it just did.
Yeah, and another story that I also heard that I think should definitely be interesting to you because I haven't mentioned this to you yet, but there is word on Mr. Villain, the villain, Marty Scurll. So it turns out that he was seen, I guess, at an event of New Japan, if I'm not mistaken. But bottom line is, the word is that he is obviously there's word that he may come back to wrestling, and it's probably going to be with New Japan. So it all depends on what kind of deal New Japan might offer to Marty Scurll, because quite frankly, my opinion, I think wrestling is not the same without Marty Scurll. I'm going to be quite honest. There's something unique about that guy. And I think, and I know I mentioned this before, but I got to say it again. I mean, I met the guy in 2016, literally when they had the Bullet Club um, autograph signing here in town in Chicago. And it was just amazing meeting all those guys. But, my impression of Marty Scurll before meeting the guy, I thought he was one of those top-notch wrestlers that will definitely be a superstar over time. And I wasn't kidding. I always felt it on that guy. But meeting him personally, man, he was just so humble, so gracious, man. He was just cool, just awesome. And, I believe he can definitely be a hit anywhere he goes. Not necessarily with just staying with Ring of Honor or New Japan. He could have made it anywhere else. AEW, NXT, WWE, doesn't matter. Or even if he's still working in the indies, just as long as, there's word that he's still in the business that he loves being in and being a top-notch superstar and being a world champion, somewhere in the business. I really do believe it in my heart that he's going to get there once again, just as long as we know where the heck he's going to end up. So what do you think about Marty Scurll possibly coming back to wrestling, maybe in New Japan, hopefully?
Well, like you mentioned, I mean, the things about the pandemic took place, but nevertheless, I mean, he the villain pretty much hit serious strides in New Japan, and yes, him returning to New Japan could be a good thing, and also pretty much I said that it would be nice if Marty Scurll could have won the AEW, but that's not. But that all is on hold because there is still a forbidden door. And even villains can cross forbidden doors. So the possibility of Marty Scurll appearing on AEW TV could possibly be 70-1.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. But I still hopefully believe that we will see him come back. I mean, he went through a lot with the controversy of allegations pursuing him. With that one event that took place not too long ago, actually just last year, and obviously he wasn't seen or heard from again until just recently. But I have it in my heart that hopefully he does come back to the wrestling scene once again. So let's get down to our reviews. Really quick. Unfortunately, I mean, I have to consider Raw officially the B show, even though it's been the B show for like so long. Because SmackDown right now is kicking so much ass, and Raw's looking as puny as it become, but I still watch it nonetheless. Of course, let's not miscount that this past Sunday was the Elimination Chamber. Predictions went down the way that I kind of suspected them. Of course, McIntyre was still WWE champion. But unfortunately, Bobby Lashley came down and literally lashed out on the champion after going through a grueling, long match. And of course, Bobby Lashley's still irate over losing his U.S. title to Riddle in that triple threat match. Of course, Keith Lee was taken out, and his spot was on the line on the kickoff show. And of course, that was won by John Morrison. John Morrison did pretty good, I would like to see John Morrison down along the line getting more opportunities like that because I think he deserves it. But the only way that would happen is if he break away from The Miz, and that way he can go back to solo again. But going back to this, once there was an open window for The Miz to take advantage of and cash in his Money in the Bank contract, he did. He's the temporary WWE champion, the paper champion, once again, because we know where it's going from there. Now the only thing that we're going to have to watch is pretty much when the heck he's going to lose that title, because let's not forget what's in the works for The Miz is that he and John Morrison are going to be tagging up to go against Damian Priest and the 24/7 on-demand champion, Bad Bunny. That's another thing, too. Of course, eventually we're going to see Bad Bunny having to lose that title, maybe back to R-Truth, and he would be like the 800 billion time 24/7 on-demand champion, and him getting back that title. So that way, once Miz loses the title, I'm pretty sure he's going to be griping about it, and Bad Bunny will have to flaunt somewhere down the line. And then, of course, maybe he'll cause Bad Bunny to lose that 24/7 title, and that way they would be even. But then now you would have these two superstars getting at each other, but now once WrestleMania approaches. So that's what I'm counting on. I think there were some good matches. There were some segments that I wasn't even all in tune to. But I think the major buildup that they're trying to heat on was, of course, Bobby Lashley got strung around with when, of course, the one thing that I never got to see but finally caught up with that Elimination Chamber was that Miz and MVP made a deal. And that's how we saw those tournament events come down at the end of Elimination Chamber. So when Raw came around, now all of a sudden Bobby Lashley's getting suckered on. He's being, his chain is being yanked with, and he's not happy about that. So, of course, that's going to infuriate him with Miz coming up with all these different excuses, being such a chicken. And it's like, no, I know that if I get in the ring with Bobby Lashley, I won't beat this guy. He's just too much of a musclehead. So, yeah, no way that I'm going to lose my WWE title just yet. But he's going to have to lose it this upcoming Monday, and it's not going to look good. But we're also hearing that Drew McIntyre is going to come back. So we don't know if he's going to come back and ruin Bobby Lashley's chances of getting that belt, or he's going to be the new champion, and Drew McIntyre, of course, he's going to invoke that rematch, and that'll happen in WrestleMania. But it's looking definitely like Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, one-on-one WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
Right now, at the very moment, when it comes to the WWE title picture, right now, because you mentioned the former champion, Drew McIntyre, who's still in the wings to get his rematch, because the man who's supposedly the number one contender starts the charter of I'm calling the CEO of the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley. But I have to mention, coincidentally, when it comes to the WWE Championship title picture, the dark horse in this picture, and that's the monster among men, Braun Strowman, and pretty much point out that he is getting sick and tired of the system. Just to point out, I'm not going to mention this. He's sick and tired of the system constantly putting the screws on him just because. Oh yeah, you were a former Universal Champion, so far you don't qualify. And ever since he made his return to the scene on Raw, Braun Strowman is pretty much just going to go on a rampage. He'll do anything. He's going to wreak havoc, and he will not rest until he gets his shot at the WWE Championship. Could that possibly happen? And of course, for those of you that saw last Monday on Raw, when we see these two behemoths collide, that was pretty much Lashley and Braun. These two behemoths colliding for the right of which one of them pretty much has the right to challenge the Miz for the WWE title. But nevertheless, there comes a point where Braun is going to be fed up, and he's going to start, ripping heads off, wreaking havoc, tearing someone to shreds until he somehow, some way gets his opportunity for the WWE title.
Actually, speaking of Braun Strowman, I heard that there's going to be another thing in the works. If his focus really isn't on the championship much, he's holding it out on the one person who he thought screwed him the most, and he's been mentioning him already for like 2 weeks, and that was Shane McMahon. Mm-hmm. So how it's stated out is that it could be Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. So I think it's going to happen because the more Braun pops out Shane's name out of his mouth, the more I believe that match is going to happen. So I think he got a nice little story to go with it. Braun's been screwed, and he believed that Shane should be held responsible for not doing right by him. And it's been one event after another, and Braun is not a happy man. So yeah, he's going to take it out on Shane because he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and that's do right by him. So that's supposedly what could be in the works for Braun and Shane at WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley, she's going to debut soon on Monday Night Raw. God knows when that's going to be. And good thing they're putting it out now before even WrestleMania gets closer. New Day and Retribution went at it again, but of course Retribution, they're not happy. I think just to kill all of this already because it's too much, just give Xavier Woods what he wants. He's been claiming for Reckoning. Just have that person's match, that one-on-one match, and that way Xavier Woods can win and Retribution, that way they can break up and then they can go on with their own business, to be honest, because that's not going anywhere. Lucha House Party and Hurt Business, they had a very cool tornado tag match. I'll tell you that much. Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, they went at it one-on-one. Of course, Sheamus won this time. They had Randy Orton had a backstage promo, and I don't think that was the work of The Fiend or Alexa Bliss with her devilish schemes. I believe they enlisted the work of Papa Shango because Randy Orton got cursed and already he's spilling dark blood. Yeah, like a Noob Saibot type of thing. Yeah, that's all Papa Shango. That I believe that in my heart so much. It's like taking me back to Warrior with the dark blood coming down and Warrior and all of that. Yeah, that just no, I don't even want to get into that. Take me back to a warped up 8-year-old kid that's just like, oh my god, I can't believe that exists. It's happening on TV. Yet it's pre-taped. Still, it's like one of those things that warp up in your mind, and it's like, oh, can't believe that took place. Backstage segment: Charlotte Flair telling Danny Chaboy just to go home. Let me be who I gotta be. I don't want to live by your coattails anymore. Just go home. Uno, dos, tres, go home. AJ Styles, Ricochet had a very good match, but now Big Daddy Chocolate Diesel Amos, he finally did something for a change. So now little HBK is letting his big man run amok for just one big power, and you see how he got that I guess that I forgot how they call that, Jack Choke Power Bomb or whatever the heck they call it. I mean, it was a really convincing move, and Ricochet did not move after that. But that was cool, nonetheless. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke against Lana and Naomi. They gave it to Lana and Naomi because obviously they're the new team, and you got to give it to them. And of course, Asuka and Charlotte, they got their rematch, but all of that went in vain. So that just went out the window. What else? That's it for Raw. So let's jump to SmackDown. SmackDown was another plausible one. I remember Roman once again coming out and opening up the show as he normally would. Daniel Bryan came in and pretty much step up to the head of the table. Jey Uso, being the right hand man, he stepped up to Daniel Bryan and it's like, man, who do you think? What you think you're doing, Uso? Like, like you ain't got no right to challenge him. It's like you want to get to him, you got to get to me. So, of course, that led to Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso at the end of the last segment of the show that if Daniel Bryan won, he gets a shot at Roman Reigns and the Universal title for Fastlane. And Jey, at all costs, he definitely avoided Daniel Bryan from winning the match. At the end, it became a double countout. So, the condition was that if Daniel Bryan won the match, that if he beat Jey Uso, he got the opportunity at a title shot against Roman Reigns at Fastlane. So, didn't happen. Double countout. It's like, nope. You're not going to be the one. No way. What else? Apollo Crews. Have you ever got to check out the short clip on YouTube or seen the episode on the DVR?
I was stuck it out, unfortunately.
So I did tell you that, of course, we seen a whole new approach to Apollo Crews. He's doing this whole new transformation, kind of like a repackaging of him. Now he's going by, he's going with his, this background, his, traditional form. He's going back to his roots, to his Nigerian descent. He's coming out with his new outfit, with green and white colors. Now he's going to come out with an accent, but now it looks like Apollo found himself, and looks like this whole new change could be a huge payoff, and I believe Apollo Crews could definitely make this go through. I really believe that because it really intrigued me for some reason. Maybe not so much on the accent, but just the apparel itself. It was just something. Check this out.
Going on with me lately? Why the sudden change? They're saying that's not the Apollo Crews that we know. Well, if I'm honest, you really don't know anything about me. You see, for far too long, I've been nice. For far too long, I've been humble. I've been respectful, and in return, I haven't received that same respect. And being who I am, and who my family is, well, you see, that just becomes unacceptable. You see, I'm not from the hood, and I'm not from suburbia. I'm from Nigeria. I am a real African American. This is who I am. This is the real me. My ancestors are Nigerian royalty. My great-grandfather, Akume Uha, he ruled the Tiv nations. And he controlled some of the richest lands in Nigeria. He spent his days draped in gold, and his nights he spent with his 5 wives. Can you imagine that? 5 wives. 5. His word was law, and his power was feared. This is who I am. This is what I represent, and this is what I stand for. These colors. This is what they mean. Wealth, dominance, and power. Big E found that out firsthand last week because just like my great-grandfather said, if your enemies defy you, you show them steel. You see, Big E had the audacity to tell me to go back to catering, but I didn't go back to catering. You know what I did? I went back to my roots so I could say this to you how my grandfather would have said it. I showed Big E the steel, and I guarantee you he would never disrespect me again. And as for my opponent tonight, Shinsuke Nakamura, you will suffer the exact same. Nakamura not impressed.
And of course, that led to Apollo Crews having a one-on-one match with Shinsuke Nakamura, and of course, successfully Apollo Crews proved his point along, and he defeated the artist. But Jade, now that you saw it before your eyes, what do you think of this new approach with Apollo Crews?
I think it could work out from, provided it's channeled in the right direction, because sometimes when all else fails, you gotta go back to, sometimes you gotta go back to your roots, because when you come from a certain nationality and you pretty much look at the lineage and it impresses you, and you pretty much say, okay, I wanna learn from what they're doing, because Apollo Crews is gonna go through it right now in NXT. Zaya Lee is doing it to a certain degree, even though it's a different way, but still it's dentistry, and nevertheless, like any foreign wrestler on the contract with, it doesn't matter to be WWE, Impact, AEW, they want to say, okay, I want to learn from my ancestors or my family. Well, let's say Roman Reigns too, because he's the head of the table. He's going back to his roots, which is Samoan, and that's pretty much the key. Like you pretty much take they're pretty much passing on to you what others have learned, and say it works out for you. It'll work out. The only thing I expect to see is that if it works out for Apollo, I mean, pretty much we like seeing the guy get Apollo, but frankly, I'm not gonna refer to the system, wrong them, but hopefully this Apollo has the potential to flourish as the stars that he should have been, probably from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we're going to see definitely how Apollo Crews is going to blossom into this whole new vision of himself, having to quiet all of that down, that side of his family. Now he's bringing it out to the light just to see how dominant Apollo Crews can truly become. And speaking about vision, another interesting storyline that is just embellished itself even more further between Seth Rollins and Cesaro. Now, an interesting aspect came to the point where, of course, Seth Rollins says, "Oh, I admit I made a mistake. This should have never happened. Me ducking you, but I was trying to get a point across where, we gotta embrace the vision, and I believe that vision can definitely take place." Because I know you always wanted to be successful. You always wanted to be at the top. You always wanted to be a champion. Well, I can help you get there if you let me help you. But of course, Cesaro, knowing him, it's like that's not gonna be the case. I'll go my own way. You go yours. But if you don't get out of my way, then you're gonna find out who I really am. So, of course, this segment we're gonna check out here. You're going to see how all of this went absolute forward and what forced Cesaro to make a decision so that Seth Rollins can get the picture of what Cesaro's vision should enhance if Seth Rollins gets out of the way.
To me 2 weeks ago, instead of turning your back and walking out on me, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because you would have won the Elimination Chamber match, you would have beat Roman Reigns, and you'd be standing here Universal Champion. But you turned me down. You walked out on me. However, it's never too late to start again. A second chance. All you have to do is embrace the vision. Be strong and embrace the vision. Let me lead you. Embrace the vision. What do you say, little friend? What do you say? And look, hey, you don't have to answer right now. don't have to answer this week. Take a week. Take 2 weeks. Think it over. Mull it over. Come back to me. Give us a good answer. We'll be waiting. We are ready. All you have to do is embrace it. Oh, hey! Oh, no! I believe this is Cesaro's answer. No! Put me down! Put me down! Oh, no. Oh, he should have taken him in at Cesaro. Why? Oh, my God. Seth is seeing triple right now. You can't embrace 3 visions. Put me down. And again. And he's still going. We could be here all night. Oh, goodness. This is the greatest swing ever. Rollins has got to be humiliated. Oh, even more so. Cesaro with a thunderous uppercut to the jaw of Seth Rollins. And Cesaro with an emphatic, no, thank you. Quite simply put, Cesaro's confidence arguably at an all-time high recently. Cesaro feels like he is on the right path. And this is appropriate.
I gotta be honest. To me, that looked like if Cesaro was Cabal and he took Seth Rollins on a whirlwind spin like about 3 times until he gave him an uppercut. That's what it looked like to me. So yeah, Cesaro took Seth Rollins on a whirlwind spin, and he finally gave him an uppercut. Maybe that could have been a brutality right there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this dynamic, it's not going to end here. They're obviously, trying to work huge on something here. We just got to see how Cesaro's matches turn out. If that can lead him to high waters for, the Universal title. There's something that could get Cesaro to the promised land, because Cesaro has been in this business for too long. There's been on and off things exciting with him, but we know how Cesaro is a gifted athlete. We see that time and time, but we don't see it all the time. And now that he's getting an opportunity, hopefully we can see Cesaro flourish on the right path, the right way. Because so far WWE Creative on the Smackdown side has been going good, but with Raw, it's just quite disgusting. The only thing maybe good going on is just what's going on with Angle with Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss, and The Fiend. That's pretty much it, but everything else is just sour potatoes. But still, I pretend like, hey, cool, they got things going on, even though it's just the same old stuff until it lasts like for 3 weeks or whatever. So yeah, that's that going on. Otis and Chad Gable against the Mysterios. Otis and Chad Gable won again. Tamina Liv Morgan had a one-on-one. Tamina won this time. I say she should be on the side of her family, to be honest. This whole thing with the Riot Squad and her best friend Natalia. Here's another thing. They pointed out that her best friend Natalia. Well, they haven't been best friends. They paired up already for like the last number of 15 years or whatever, and it's like, okay, are they best friends? Are they not best friends? Or are they frenemies? I don't even know that term is now on the Webster's dictionary. Frenemies, because the enemy of my enemy is your frenemy. Whatever. Now Bianca Belair finally made her decision that she is going to face Sasha Banks at WrestleMania. We all knew that. It was just a matter of when. The Street Profits. They had a hell of a comeback match against a very short alliance, King Corbin and Sami Zayn. And if it weren't for his freaking production documentary crew, then maybe there wouldn't be so much conflicts between the King and Sami Zayn. But I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. And that's pretty much it for SmackDown. So still yet another good, decent show. It was it had a lot of good action. The match with Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan, that was awesome. That was the main event. Street Profits had a hell of a comeback match. Apollo's match with Nakamura was very good. The only thing that I hate was the repetitive match between the Mysterios and Gable and Otis. Same thing with Tamina and Liv Morgan, even though this past Friday was only a one-on-one. But that was pretty much it. Okay, now going to the Wednesday Night Wars. Excuse me. I know we're gonna cut this short because I even gotta hit the hay because I gotta go to work later on. The angle with Adam Cole, now the Undisputed Era is officially done. After finally we see Adam Cole unleashing his colors on Roderick Strong. And we still haven't heard the reason why he did it. But I gotta get that out the way since I know that's the big topic of NXT and that's the main storyline that the world is dying to know. So we still haven't heard a peep from Adam Cole. Hopefully we'll hear him this upcoming Wednesday. But how the show opened up, the match with Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano, they had a really pretty good one. Very good one from both sides. Yet Austin Theory is the topic of the way, where now all of a sudden it seems like Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell are starting to have a conscience. So the Gargano way, obviously, it's not going thoroughly into the mind of Theory and Hartwell. So Johnny Gargano thinks it's best for him to go to therapy. Hopefully it's not with the same doctor that treated Daniel Bryan and Kane. What was his name?
I think it was Dr. Shelby, I think it was.
Dr. Shelby. Yeah, I think it was Dr. Shelby, if that was his name. Isaiah Swerve Scott. I don't get this guy anymore. He beats on poor Leo Ruff, and yeah, obviously he's still not completely over the fact that Leon Ruff outsmarted him the previous week and pinned him 1-2-3. And yeah, the Swerve outswerved Leon Ruff once again, the pathetic way, but that's how he rolls. Casey Catanzaro got the taste of Xia Li, and she warned her before, in previous weeks that that's something that she don't want, and unfortunately she got the taste of it. Xia Li gave it all that she had, but still, her and Kaden Carter, her partner, they were still wondering who the heck is behind that Miss Shang Tsung throne, with her face covered and, just overseeing everything, because Boa, Xia Li are the two, obviously, figures of martial arts that can't be beat, will never be beaten, because, they have a strong body, mind, and discipline. And obviously we're seeing how lethal they can become. More for Xia Li because we haven't seen Boa back in the ring, but we should see them back in the ring, hopefully. What else? Grizzled Young Veterans. They had a match with Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. And obviously, I gotta hand it to Kane and Maverick. They did pretty good. They will always try to do good as a team. But obviously, Grizzled Young Veterans, they were just, irate over the fact that MSK smoked them out during the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament match. Well deserved, I might add, but, I don't want to overlook GYV. They were pretty amazing in that match as well. Of course, Cameron Grimes, his freaking promos as of late, it's like he's trying to overdo the $1 Million Man of what he has done in the past with the money and the basketball and all that. And all of a sudden, it's like if he's begging for the $1 Million Man to come back and outdo him, like money versus money, or how to sucker people out of money. $1 Million Man will always be OG. We all know that because we grew up and see how evil and how everybody has a price for the $1 Million Man. That will never be disputed. No puns intended. And of course we've seen a promo with LA Knight. He believes he's calling the shots. But we'll see that once he gets to NXT. The match that really stole the show this past Wednesday was definitely Santos Escobar and Karrion Kross. They fought like hell inside and outside of the place, and we knew no matter how weak or if he already suffered a broken arm, a hurt knee, doesn't matter how, but Karrion Kross was going to pull it off and he would win the match. Despite the numbers against him, Legado del Fantasma, they were going to try everything within their power, to put down this big guy, but, no can do. Simply a no can do. Now, leaning towards March the 3rd, we already got some matches lined up. We know that, of course, we already know that for the WWE Women's Tag Team match, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will defend their titles against the team that won the first ever Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic tournament and became number one contenders in their own right, and that is Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Can't wait for that match to take place. Also, MSK, they're going to go against the tag team champions, Oney Lorcan, and his tag team partner. And that would be
Danny Burch.
Since I haven't heard a peep out of you out of this. So, yeah, that those two tag matches are going to take place. I believe Johnny Gargano could defend his North American Championship, but I'm not totally sure. But there are other matches in the works too. So, of course, we're going to, the whole world is going to stay tuned to what's going to happen on May 3rd, because nonetheless, NXT and AEW, they're going to have some surprises to pull from both sides. All of their matches are going to live up to the hype, and they got to display the best just to see who wins March 3rd, because March 3rd has been the talk of the town already for weeks now. And like I mentioned, yes, Zoe Stark had her match with Io Shirai one-on-one. That's one that I should have gotten to out of this whole review card. Zoe Stark's was very impressive. Zoe Stark really stayed toe-to-toe with Io Shirai. I couldn't have been more ecstatic or wowed by what Zoe Stark has displayed against Io Shirai. And you witnessed that match. What do you think of Zoe Stark?
Yeah, she impressed me by far. Though I remember the first time I saw her wrestle, she proved that she can hang. And last Wednesday when she took on Io Shirai in a non-title match, she proved that she could probably belong in the NXT roster, and hopefully better things will happen for her.
I believe so too, because there was a reason why she wasn't a part of the Dusty Rhodes tag team tournament match, and that was because they were going to have her fly solo. So it's a good thing they didn't, because now we got to see, what she's all about. Now, with AEW, how they started out, I believe it was John Moxley had an opening match and won his match. Of course, afterwards he had a very deep promo to the very end of how he stated that, him having that that barbed wire explosive death match, whatever you want to call it, he seemed, if that would be his last, then that would, quote unquote, seem like a hell of a way to go out. That statement right there, I believe that's the tip off of him. If he don't win a Revolution, that we won't see John Moxley for a good while. And that's because, of course, Renee Paquette, Renee Young, it'll be her time to give birth, and, he'll be out for a good while, to be daddy. So that would be the reason why that is stated, this past Wednesday. Yeah, the Mox man, he's been traveling around the world for good reason. Wrestle at, with any opportunity that there is for him to possibly travel from Japan to the US and whatnot. My hat's off to that guy. But it shows how much heart and soul he's got to kick ass and to make that money, because now he's in the position of needing it more than ever, because him and Renee got a kid to bring into the world and take care of, so my hat's off to both of them, and I know that they're going to be great parents for sure, no doubt. The one promo that took place with MJF and Chris Jericho, that was just too cheesy, I guess, or in this case, too Hollywood / Valentina hot sauce bloody, because of how it looked on the screen. And I'm all like, couldn't this be any more stupid? I mean, how they got Papa Buck splat blood all over Matt on the back of the truck to toss him over and do it on the other side all over Nick's picture in the back of that truck. It's like, can you come up with anything better? Or couldn't you come up with, add a little bit of more cornstarch and make it look like if it's really dripping blood? Because you got it like blood that's sticking on this part of the forehead. You don't even have any blood coming out of his mouth. Come on, man. That is so phony. Like, Jesus Christ. Really? My God. You could have made God, being on that cross look any more realistic than he would already look, especially on the Mel Gibson movie. Like, come on, man. Get it together. Like, for real. At least have, Valentina hot sauce pouring out of his mouth. Come on, man. It's just stupid, to be honest. I mean, because look at it here. Look at the picture here. Don't that look phony? Don't that look like freaking Hollywood blood?
Yeah, it does.
My God. And we still remember how Mancow dressed up turd with Hollywood blood.
Right.
That's how it looked like to me. But geez, man, it was so phony. I wasn't even impressed. And they're making a joke out of it. Oh, splat. Oh, blood all over Matt. Carry him over. Oh, splat all over Nick. No, it was that part was stupid. I mean, I get add Papa Buck to the storyline. That's cool. Oh, there was a thing where there was a thought, or he did suggest it. Papa Buck did suggest that he really wanted to cut his forehead to make it real, but I guess his sons, Matt and Nick, they advised him not to, which I understand, because Papa Buck, he's already old. He really don't need to go to those extremes, to say the least. But Yeah, still that Hollywood blood. So phony that I didn't even bother. I know why it was done, but still, it's like they could have made it a little bit more realistic. But yeah, that was poorly done. Now we finally got to see Sting do something. We've seen him get involved at the end of Team Taz's match. I love the way how they did that video where, of course, Darby Allin's body bag was being reclaimed again, being dragged back. When in reality, they just could have put it in the back of the car and still in a body bag, but still, I guess that wouldn't make sense. But still, they dragged it back. They have the close-up shot of Sting's gloves driving the vehicle and heading in toward the building. And then, of course, to stop it, unzip the body bag, and you got a evil, smiling-looking Joker type of Darby Allin. And I love the face paint, almost looking in resemblance to Sting of his black and white Crow days. So that was cool. And then to officially bring it out, you got Sting dragging the body bag. He unzips it, and that ended up being Captain Hook. It ended up being Taz's boy. And I'm like, geez, the hooker's all the way low. and what was really cool about that angle, now we see Darby Allin going down the zip line like if he was a young painted HBK Shawn Michaels, and he comes in, lands in the ring, and boy, him and Sting start kicking ass. And finally we get to see Sting do a Scorpion Death Drop, and I believe he was about to perform a Scorpion Deathlock. Maybe it didn't happen, or maybe it did, but nonetheless, him and Darby Allin, they did pretty good for that angle, and it keeps me more interested in wanting to see that tag team street fight match. And I can't wait for AEW Revolution when that happens, so that definitely we can see that happening. What else? So, of course, we got to see some of those women's matches for the tournaments that took place. One of them was obviously Nyla Rose against Dr. Britt Baker. And we know that we did not want to see Dr. Britt Baker advance. She was just too much. Dr. But I'm not even going to put myself out there that she needs a dental assistant. That's already out the window. That'll be an idea that'll never, ever happen. And even if they do have that idea come out, whoever ends up being her dental assistant will just be a lousy one. Not even convincing. I know I would have done 1,000,000 times better. Nyla Rose advanced, miraculously enough. I mean, even though Dr. Britt Baker put it through hell, but she made it through. Of course, Big Monet, Matthew Harvey, Big Money Matt Hardy, of course, sending a message to Adam Page. And yeah, it's not looking all that pretty for him. Of course, we've seen more previews of Shaq and Jade Cargill. And of course, we already threw in our opinion of who can win that match. I believe Cody and Red Velvet can definitely do it. But I still believe, now that we already talked about Paul White already signing with AEW, I still believe that they can add him in the angle, if not in the beginning, maybe towards the end, or in the middle of the match towards the end, or even at the very end, just so the WWE can shoot themselves in the foot once again, because They had an idea, they did not capitalize it, and maybe AEW, if they play their cards right, they can capitalize on something that WWE didn't have the balls to capitalize themselves. And that's to have a exhibition match, not really a wrestling match, but an exhibition match between Paul White and Shaq. Because those two big guys, we already seen them face to face. They teased it off on WWE television. They never had an exhibition match. I think an exhibition match would have had more eyes on these two behemoths, these two giants, and maybe it would have been a huge payoff for WWE. But obviously, that didn't went that way. So, am I right or am I wrong?
You could be right. I mean, anything is possible in the industry of pro wrestling, and we'll see where things go. But nonetheless, the focus is this Wednesday. If you want to watch NXT, you probably feel compelled to see what will culminate in this women's tag match with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. And of course, Shayna Baszler said Dakota Kai is still that same weak link that I abused numerous times, but chances are this Dakota Kai is Shayna faced. However, if for those of you who want to watch AEW, sort of like myself, what will happen in this mixed tag match with Cody Red Velvet against Shaq and Jade Cargill? I mean, and a lot can happen, especially since we are only about a week away from Revolution. A lot can happen. We'll see what transpire this Wednesday.
Yes, most definitely. So, like I mentioned before, March 3rd, that's the day where, of course, wrestling is the talk of the town. Tune into your favorite shows, if not both, and tune into your favorite show just to watch what the heck March 3rd for them is so important, because obviously both shows are going to have so many outstanding matches on the cards respectively that it's going to be something to talk about. And I know once this upcoming weekend, we're going to definitely talk about what were these stellar matches that really pulled it out for their shows respectively coming up for this Wednesday, because I believe there's going to be some matches that are going to stand out, no doubt about it, and we're definitely going to talk about them. But if there's definitely some negativity or something that we didn't like, whether promo or whatever, then we're definitely going to spell it out here on this program. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this does it for us here for another edition of the Wrestling Weekend Recap. We want to thank you guys for watching. Keep on liking those videos. As we're seeing, once again, the old school videos are still taking a tremendous hit. The likes, the comments, everything that goes in between, man. We can't appreciate you guys enough. Thank you very much. And for the latest subscriptions already, 2,600 plus. Thank you so much for the love and support. We appreciate you guys. You don't know how much this means to us. And, of course, for the one and only Jay, this has been Ace Man X. In the meantime, stay covered. Keep your distance. Stay safe. Peace and love worldwide. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next time. Have a good night, everyone.